Like a lot of Raider fans, I go on Raider message boards and I read fan comments. I think the Raiders should really consider trading quite a few of their fans to the Chiefs. All this anti-Derek Carr crap, it just continues to regurgitate over and over. What did Derek Carr have for a wide receiver last year? Who exactly did he have? He had Antonio Brown in the preseason, if you will. That's who he had. That is who John Gruden gave him. And what happened? We all know what happened. The crackhead cracked up. And he's still cracking up. He just got arrested, turned himself in. And we're going to continue to blame Derek Carr for all that. Remember the games? I love Tony Romo because he just speaks so straight. But he knows what he's talking about. You can tell he knows what he's talking about. He predicts things. And in the games that he did with the Raiders, he points out again and again the wide receivers are not getting open. Recently, Tim Brown was interviewed, and he defended Derek Carr. Derek Carr does not have a Tim Brown. He does not have a Jerry Rice. And he doesn't even have a Dougie Williams. He doesn't have a Jesse Hester. Those are bad wide receivers, by the way. He doesn't have any of that. And so you read these message boards, and they just blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the Raiders can always pick up a wide receiver later. They're not picking a wide receiver later. The 12th pick is going to be the best wide receiver on the board. You can bet. They might even trade up for one of the wide receivers if they think that is going to be their number one wide receiver. There's no guarantee. The Raiders have selected wide receivers very high before, and they have not done well. But that includes Amari Cooper, who could not catch Derek Carr's fastballs. And he seemed to be, as in the same interview, Tim Brown points out, he's not a Gruden grinder. He does not like football. Does not love football, should put. And who's C.D. Lamb? Is that his real name? Whatever. It sounds entertaining. It sounds like something that belongs in Las Vegas. I know nothing about college football, and the experts know nothing about college football. They called Amari Cooper, the best thing since Jerry Rice. And for the Raiders, yeah, he put up some numbers, but then he would disappear in games. He would drop passes at an alarming rate. So the Raiders need someone like Antonio Brown without the baggage. They need someone that can just light it up. And this is who Daniel Jeremiah has selected for the Raiders. C.D. Lamb with the 12th overall pick. I think he's got a linebacker for the 19th pick. Patrick Queen. But you can bet John Gruden is not going to be selecting a defensive tackle here. He's not going to be selecting a safety. He's not going to be selecting a linebacker. He's selecting a wide receiver. That is who the Raiders need. And all the people that love to criticize Carr are like, now you give him another chance. Yeah, well, who did he have last year? I mean, can someone answer that question for me? He had Waller as a tight end. He turned, what's his name, Cook, into a great tight end because that's the only thing he could attack over the middle, exploit the linebackers and safeties. He had no speed on the outside. It's not just speed, too. I know nothing about C.D. Lamb, but he's supposedly a great route runner and with speed, and he's big. That's what John Gruden wants. I mean, he was going to settle for Antonio Brown because Antonio Brown was exceptional, even though he's a little runt. But he's going to want a prototypical neo wide receiver that's going to be tall, great hands, and great moves. And that's what the Raiders need. They need someone to get open when it's, as Tim Brown said, when it's 3rd down and 6. The Raiders don't have a guy where the team says, we have to cover him. Do you remember Tim Brown when it was Tim Brown and Jeff Hostetler? It was oftentimes 3rd down and 10. The Raiders would try to run it on 1st down and 2nd down. They couldn't run it for anything. And on 3rd down and 10, it was Tim Brown. Raiders don't have that. They didn't have that in the beginning with Tim Brown either. Tim Brown took a little bit of development. In fact, Tim Brown, he really took off after the Broncos signed him. Yeah, the Broncos actually signed him to an offer sheet, and he was going to Denver, if you can imagine that. I don't think he would have played well in Denver, but he was going to the Broncos, and Al Davis brought him back. Raiders need someone like that. It could be this guy. It could be guy from Alabama, Judy. It could be someone else. I hope it's not going to be some guy who's just about speed. It's got to be someone who can get open. It's all fine, the Tyreek Hills of the world, but the Raiders need some exceptional wide receiver. Like I said, I know nothing about college football. I think a lot of people who follow college football don't know a lot about it because these guys still have to perform. There is no guarantee that any of these guys. Let's look through the draft. No guarantee that they will do anything. It seems it's going to be pretty standard the way these draft mock boards line up. Joe Burrow is going to be the number 1 overall pick. Chase Young. Now, I know nothing about any of these players. This is a huge risk, I think. The guy had a broken hip. Tua Tagovailoa took on... Raiders had a pick like that. He didn't... That sounded like that. Tui Tusiapa Sopa Lopa Lopa Opa. But, who knows what happens with that? Because those type of picks will affect who drops to the Raiders. On this draft board, they're saying the first wide receiver off the board is going to go into the Raiders at 12. Don't know that. See, you got the Broncos selecting a wide receiver here. And here's another wide receiver that's been connected to some. These 2 wide receivers right here, I've seen connected to the Raiders before. Ruggs and Higgins. I've not seen anything Justin Jefferson. Nothing on him. Went past one. There's a lot of wide receivers that he's picking for the first round. But the Raiders definitely have to hit on this. They need to give Derek Carr that outlet. And he better not be one of these Amari Cooper types. Oh, this is the best thing. The best thing since cream cheese and chives. And he did not work out. He could not catch Derek Carr's fastball, for starters. And then he often disappear, and he wasn't tough. I think those are the type of things the Raiders need. They need a tough wide receiver, one that can catch contested balls, go up for catches, has great hands, and great route running ability and speed. Asking for a lot, but this is the top of the draft. This is who the Raiders are going to pick. They're not picking a linebacker. Get that out of your head. They might pick a linebacker after this. Or they could actually pick 2 wide receivers, because Terrell Williams, it's questionable whether he's even a 3rd tier wide receiver. Who is he? I mean, there were some games where he just dropped the pass, and you're like, okay, sure, blame Derek Carr, because in the record books, it's going to look like Derek Carr lost the game. No. It's going to look like Terrell Williams lost the game, but people are going to forget about it. It's just going to all come down to Derek Carr and his record. Can't even click his name. But he's who the Raiders are connected with in several drafts, mock drafts, and it's going to be one of the wide receivers. It depends on what happens above. I mean, the Jets, they could select someone, but it's not going to be who these Carr hater fans who think, problem's the quarterback. If we had a good quarterback, if we had Patrick Mahomes, like we should have got, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, he would have turned our wide receiver core into the best in football, elite. They have no speed, they have no moves, and they can't catch. What else do you need to know? The Raiders are picking a wide receiver at number 12. Bank on it.